Duke at UNC. All eyes are going to be in Chapel Hill for game day, for the game, for the greatest rivalry in a lot of ways, sports. Duke at UNC on Saturday. So I started thinking, what are the matchups that are going to help decide this game? What are the individual players on the floor, one-on-ones, that are going to help decide this game? And it's tempting. You start diving in. It's tempting to just list all of them, right? To go, well, point guard versus point guard, shooting guard versus shooting guard, small forward versus small forward, center versus center. But I think two kind of, at least for me, stood out above the rest. Dennis, you might have some others. Mm-hmm. The first one is Mark Mitchell versus Harrison Ingram. Because both of these guys, Mark Mitchell for Duke, Harrison Ingram for UNC, in a lot of ways have been Johnny on the spot for their two teams. Mark Mitchell, a little bit of injury dealt with, had an ankle earlier in the season, came out of that ankle injury firing. And as he started, he had a couple 20-point games. He had a 20-point double-double. As he became more aggressive, the team picked up their style of play, picked up their level of play. So it almost was as a slow start for Duke, 3 losses before December 3rd, as they had a slow start, when Mark Mitchell was like, no, I'm going to start playing great. The team said, all right, let's climb our way back up into the top 10 in the country. Harrison Ingram does that on maybe not a season-wide, but on a game-to-game basis, right? Oh, we need a big play? I got a big play. Oh, we need rebounds? I got rebounds. So in a weird way, if you take away either of those guys, that might be, opening up a whole bunch of holes in the boat for that team. If Mark Mitchell can outplay Harrison Ingram's been the guy with, one finger in a different hole in the boat, plugging them all up and keeping it dry inside all season for UNC. On the same side, if Harrison Ingram makes Mark Mitchell, when playing, when healthy, look a bit more human or a bit less explosive, guess what? They might start looking like the Duke that lost 3 games before December 3rd, before Mark Mitchell kicked them into gear a bit.
Very well. So
those two, and also, I think in a lot of ways, of the starters, they're the 2 best athletes on the floor for their individual teams, right? When you include size and explosiveness, maybe Mitchell would have some competing with the guards, but I think those 2 guys are just kind of a step ahead when it comes to size and explosiveness together.
Now, I could see it when Carolina is on the offensive end, Mitchell guarding Harrison Ingram. I could see that because obviously you probably want to have Filipowski down low against Bacot in terms of a rim protector, and I think that Filipowski have a little bit more trouble athletically keeping up with Harrison Ingram because he just has that first step is so fast. But I think on the other end of the
7+ footers it's tough.
Very much so. Now, I think on the defensive end, this is where the matchup for me is. On the defensive end for Carolina, I think Ingram is the one guarding Filipowski.
At times, for sure.
At times, because Filipowski has the ability to stretch out the floor, and you don't want Bacot defending out at the 3-point line. I'd much rather have Harrison Ingram, even though he's 4 or 5 inches shorter than Filipowski.
May even be more than that. Maybe 5.5.
But nonetheless, like he has the length and ability to keep up with Filipowski. He's not going to let him drive to the basket. So I'm intrigued to see how that matchup's going to be. We know Mark Mitchell offensively is going to play down in the post, which is where you want Bacot to be defensively. And even if Filipowski is setting screens on pick and roll, Bacot can slough off and help defensively because Mitchell's not a threat to shoot from the outside. So I think that's kind of the intriguing thing, at least down low when it comes to the 4 and 5. The matchup for me is Ingram going to guard Filipowski just because Filipowski can stretch the floor.
Great point. And both of them are a little bit more versatile. Well, Harrison Ingram, I can't say a little bit more versatile than you think because his calling card is versatility.
Yes, you call him the amorphous blob.
The amorphous blob, the shapeshifter, yep. I call him a liquid because he fits into the container that he is held in.
Yep.
There's a lot of weird nicknames that we gave to Harrison Ingram. But Mark Mitchell, I think,
put him on shirts.
Put him on back of a jersey, the amorphous blob. It could also be like a very, very local pro wrestler. The amorphous blob coming out of the tunnel
now we're talking
in some high school gymnasium in southwestern Oklahoma. Mark Mitchell's, I think, a little bit more versatile than he's given credit for also. Then there's this other matchup. I said there's 2. This other one for the Duke-UNC game is box office. It is the Marvel Endgame, right? It is Avengers Endgame.
Still talking my language.
There you go. And it's actually, I'm going to focus in even more to a matchup that's on one side of the court. So when one team has the basketball, when RJ Davis has the basketball for UNC and he is guarded by Tyrese Proctor, that matchup to me is one that could decide this entire game. And I hope Tyrese Proctor looks at that matchup in that way, right? There were times in the first half, got to get my levels of basketball right, in the first half when Duke was playing Syracuse, when Tyrese Proctor looked at Joe Girard, who was their shooting guard, their second leading scorer, and you could tell, like, just by looking in Tyrese's eyes, he was like, this guy's not getting a clean shot off all night. And in the first half, he pretty much didn't. And it was taken upon Proctor's shoulders to say, one of the ways I can impact this game is by being Bruce Bowen, right? One of the ways I can impact this game is by being Raja Bell or Pat Bev, somebody that takes their pride on the defensive side of the ball. Now, Proctor also brings something on the offensive side, but I would love for him on the defensive side to look at RJ Davis and say, not today. And I would love for RJ Davis, who's the leading scorer in the ACC and against better opponents seems to almost score the ball better. I want RJ Davis to look at Tyrese Proctor and go, that's what you thought, right? Look at him and say, you think you're going to bottle me up? It's not that easy. Watch this, right? I want it to be it's actually not really something you see like in big games against great teams. But you see it in like all-star games or street ball games where it's, no, give me the ball. I have something to prove against him, right? Clear out. The old there's a great clip from the Redeem Team where like the Redeem Team documentary where LeBron James is imitating Kobe, where he puts like a diamond in the sky and he breaks it and he's looking at everybody else. It's a little hand signal. And then LeBron looks at Kobe. That means clear the bleep out. I'm taking it myself. This means clear it out. This means I got it. Like, I kind of want RJ Davis when Tyrese Proctor is coming out on, like, say, the right wing to guard him to look at everybody else and go, is me and him out here. Because UNC needs RJ Davis to score, right? He's their leading scorer for a reason, and they depend on him to put the ball in the bucket. And Tyrese Proctor can take that away from him, or at least that's, I believe, the mindset he should go into the game with. So if those two guys who are, when during the most impressive games of the seasons for these two teams are two of the better players, if they, the example I always use is the National Geographic, Planet Earth documentaries, two rams on the side of a mountain, just going at it and actually fits for the Tar Heels. You don't see many Blue Devils and Nat Geo documentaries, really. but just the grizzly bears fighting over a salmon, right? The lion pride, the Maine lions with the giant manes fighting over the pride. I want to see them on the wing, and I almost want to bring back the N1 Mixtape Tour announcer to just go like, oh, baby, right? The RJ Davis going at the Proctor. He's issuing a test. Like, I want that energy on the wing in Chapel Hill this weekend for that matchup.
It's going to be electric.
I was going to say, in case you can't tell, I'm a little excited. It's Thursday.
I know. Like, we still got to pace yourself, sir. But, yeah, I'm 100% with you. And I think those two are going to go at it, which is going to make the other matchups kind of interesting. It's like, all right, is Jared McCain going to guard Elliot Cadeau? That's two young freshmen that are going to be going at it as well. And when Jeremy Roach, he's still hobbled with the ankle a little bit. When he's out there, okay, are you attacking him more? Like, it just, the game within the game within the game. It's, I cannot wait for Saturday.
And then one of the matchups you brought up earlier, like, it's kill your darlings. It's if you have to pick two matchups, the impressiveness of those two matchups is proven by the matchups we didn't name, right? We didn't name Filipowski against Bacot, right?
Yeah.
When Bacot has the ball, he's guarded by Filipowski. That is two Wooden Award, whatever the list that was just updated, semifinalists, two Wooden Award semifinalists, locking horns down in the post, and we didn't bring it up because there were other more interesting matchups. That shows you how interesting those matchups were. You brought up Jared McCain and Elliot Cadeau. Just the pure first experience in this rivalry for two freshmen, That right there is fascinating enough to do a documentary about, full length, right? Hit 90 minutes on that one. I'll watch it on Netflix Untold. I'll do a 30 for 30 on it. But that's not even top 3 matchups that I'm most interested in this one. It truly is. It only happens in that rivalry, which is why I consider it the best in sports.